February 18th, 2023. Well, we've had in a recent time period here, last week and a half or so, or two, we've had an ongoing balloon problem in this country, uh, which I guess we've perhaps come to an end of this for the time being, it looks like. But there's another aspect of this which I think relates to the whole issue of unidentified aerial phenomena, which which somehow I think there's some conflation of the issues that have been generated by this whole thing, which may have some problems going forward, which I'll try to get into here. But first of all, of course, we know that there was a fairly large Chinese balloon that came in, apparently with a full sensor package attached to it, and managed to come across the country and go through a variety of sensitive strategic targets, basically our ICBM fields, our strategic forces headquarters, the key base for our stealth bomber fleet, and then finally ended up getting shot down over the coast of South Carolina by an F-22, giving its first air-to-air kill. I think stencil a balloon on that airplane. And then afterwards, but because of all the political pressure that the Biden administration came under for letting it do this, they then overreacted and started sending aircraft to shoot down a variety of random balloons that happened to be at somewhat interesting altitudes where they theoretically might come close to an airplane in the commercial air fleet. And of course, one was shot down right over the northern Alaska, right over the ocean there into the ice, and then one of them was in the Yukon, but at the request and agreement with the Canadians, and then one of them over Lake Huron after they missed one that was over Montana. In fact, there could be others there, but it's now beginning to look like the last three objects were not Chinese spy balloons, but rather were some kind of innocuous civilian hobbyist things, or maybe weather research balloons or some other item of that sort. So anyway, by the way, if you like these videos, please give me a like. It helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate the person that just subscribed. We need more subscriptions. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. I think that there's a little bit of embarrassment that we're using something like $400,000 missiles to shoot down $12 hobby balloons and stuff, or whatever, or $12 ones, I guess it was. But at any rate, the point is that we can't just continue this whole thing like that. And one of the problems I think is that there's been some consternation, that as to what the difficulty is. The main thing is that the sensor systems we use, the radars and so forth, are basically designed to detect incoming ballistic missile warheads or enemy aircraft or cruise missiles that would be coming in as part of a military attack, as part of an early warning system. And of course, the objective there is to kind of filter out things like balloons. We don't want to set off a NORAD alert because a balloon flew over. I mean, that would be, and scrambling planes and doing all kinds of dangerous militarily provocative maneuvers, and find out it was set off with something that was just a balloon, right? Because other countries may react to how we react, and that could set off some kind of a bad situation, obviously. So anyhow, I guess they're going to have to rethink how we handle these issues and be a little more discerning. But I think that it also looks like there's been some recalibration, so we do have a little bit better view to a wider variety of objects, which gets us into the issue I raised at the beginning, which is the unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP issue, which is a diverse subject. The bulk of things that would fall into that issue are ultimately going to turn out to be rather mundane things like balloons and drones and other things of that sort. However, there are things in this category which are really exotic craft that probably are not from this world. Let's put it that way. The classic UFO, if you will. But of course, UFO just means some object that's unidentified and it's flying, right? So the right word for this is unclear, but these craft that are out there that are a very small part of the overall UAP things that are identified, I think. We have an effort now. We have a special agency in the Department of Defense that you know the so-called all domain anomaly resolution uh, group there uh, is dedicated to actually trying to sort through these things. And the main purpose, I think, that was intended by Congress is to get to the real anomalous objects, things that don't fit into the category of balloons, spy balloons, or other kind of balloons, or drones, or whatever, at least not human drones. And I hope that this whole thing doesn't get the debunking team spun up to the point where they try to pretend like there's nothing to see here. There have been things to see here for quite a while. Definitely since the 1940s, going back to the Foo Fighters of World War II, the UFO flaps of the late 40s and 50s and so forth. And this has been ongoing throughout this time, and I'm hoping that this doesn't throw us off track here too much. I mean, certainly, hostile powers may very well be doing a lot of things, but when you have many of these incidents, such as the ones in the 3 videos that were released in around 2017 and 2018 that have eventually been confirmed as real, although we don't know what they're looking at, those objects are not Chinese anything, okay? They really are otherworldly of some sort, and that's where we need to have some focus on studying them as well, while not ignoring things like Chinese spy balloons. They're in 2 different categories of items. And if a foreign power were to develop some of the reconnaissance planes, such as the ones we've had historically, and try to fly them over us, that'd be another issue we'd have to address, such as, when we had the SR-71, for example. As far as I know, none of our adversaries really have anything of quite that category. So, and now the general approach is to use satellites for reconnaissance, obviously. But at any rate, that's my main concern here with all this. In addition to, I think, as I've said earlier, I tend to think that the original Chinese balloon was done. I'm sure it was done to collect intelligence, but I think also it was more of a feeling us out effort to see how we'd react to it, what they could gain from it, what we would do about it, how quickly we'd make a decision, and so forth. And I think that has given them some data. But the broader UAP issue that the Aero organization, is supposed to be dealing with, which is to filter out things that are truly anomalous that are still out there, and I would certainly hope that we don't lose focus on that either. Some people think that this idea of expanding our, let's say, our filters on our sensor systems will be good because we'll see more of these items and they'll get properly detected. And that may be good because certainly these sort of broader sensors, basically our early warning radar nets, could give us a lot of data if it was filtered for that purpose. But then from a military point of view, we don't want to get too focused on that, I guess, because obviously you have to focus on given our ongoing crises in the world, we have to focus on the military threat as well. But at any rate, that's my main point on that is I think the administration's kind of made a fool of itself in this whole thing by first underreacting and then overreacting to compensate for their underreaction. It reminds me a little bit of what happened in the tragedy in Afghanistan when 13 of our soldiers and Marines were killed, in a terrorist attack. And then we responded rashly and ended up just hitting some innocent civilians in retaliation, not a terrorist group. So, that's one of those kind of things where the pressure to do something leads you to do the wrong thing sometimes. So, anyway, that's kind of what I think about that, and we'll just have to be wrapping this up shortly. By the way, I would say that this ongoing Palestine, Ohio thing is just a real tragedy, and it's really disgusting that they're not doing the proper FEMA aid and so forth these people, because we really need to have high quality testing of everything and some mitigation, because we've seen previously that both the burn pit issues that we've had overseas, which led to a $15 billion budget to provide health care and benefits to our veterans, And for instance, the marine thing at Camp Lejeune that you see ads all about show you how dangerous these kind of toxic substances can be. And I don't see why this is inherently different than that. And so I hope that they'll get the proper aid that they need. So anyway, so I'll wrap this up for now. By the way, I'll also be, as always, I'll be posting it on Rumble too. And of course, the addresses of my social media accounts are in the description below. Until next time.